I'll start with the food bit. I think I always grew up around food, and my mom is a great cook and she loves food and she loves cooking. I think when it comes to my page and when I say making food we love with a twist, it's really just about honoring those traditions, and adapting those recipes in a way that fits me in terms of convenience, my lifestyle, my nutritional needs today. But also not forgetting the true essence behind those dishes. I think for me, it's always been health and weight related. I think a lot of it was also just hormonal, and I had a thyroid. I had an underactive thyroid. I also was pre-diabetic, and I was told that I had to make severe lifestyle changes, to not end up being diabetic. And I think in terms of travel, to be honest, I've always just wanted to explore different cultures, different foods, different ways of living, and this is the 4th country I'm living in now, so my journey has been very interesting. I've moved around quite a bit, and I think I've learned a lot, obviously, from all those moves in terms of professional growth, personal growth, but also just my relationship with food and cooking. So I think it's all really just shaped me into who I am today. But I think something that really stuck with me was, so I spent a month in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, during one of my internships during my MBA. And obviously a lot of the food I couldn't eat because being a vegetarian. But I found this cute little vegan cafe close to where I was working, and I'd literally go there every single day for lunch, and I tried every single thing on their menu. So it was very authentic Vietnamese food. And I think the dish that probably stuck with me was a noodle soup. So pho, but the vegetarian version of the pho. But they had these very creative, innovative, different noodle soup dishes that were purely vegan, vegetarian. And I think I just became obsessed with noodle soups ever since then.
Hi guys. Before we dive into today's episode, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you've been enjoying the conversations here on Zen and Now, whether it's helped you reflect, grow, or just feel a little bit more seen, take a second to hit that subscribe or follow button on whatever platform you're listening on. Subscribing means you won't miss a single episode, and it also helps more people discover the show, people who might really need these kind of real and honest conversations. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave a quick rating or review. It honestly makes a huge difference and keeps the podcast going strong. Thank you so much. Let's get into it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Zen and Now podcast. And today I'm joined by Shivangi Bhagwan, a total food and lifestyle enthusiast who's putting her own twist on the kind of dishes we all know and love. She's got this creative way of bringing culture and personality into everything she makes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. When it comes to food, and especially our Indian food, we always go back to the staples that we know, and having looked at your page of on Instagram, all the colors and the vibrancy, and especially the twists that you doing now to the food, it's so inspirational, and I think long needed. Sometimes we get too caught up in the same mundane way of making the food, but now you're adding your own twist. Can you just share with us, where did that inspiration for you for food and as a travel enthusiast begin?
Yeah, okay, so I'll start with the food bit. I think I always grew up around food, and my mom is a great cook and she loves food and she loves cooking. So I think a lot of that has just stayed with me in my life. And the dishes that my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, my cousins made hold so much value and meaning to me. And they're all part of our family story. So I feel like those traditions should not be lost. And I think when it comes to my page and when I say making food we love with a twist, it's really just about honoring those traditions, and adapting those recipes in a way that fits me in terms of convenience, my lifestyle, my nutritional needs today, but also not forgetting the true essence behind those dishes. And I think my husband and I are also are very health focused, and we're trying to eat mindfully, and maintaining balance in the foods we eat. So I think he also challenges me a lot in terms of the traditional food that we eat and how we can sort of elevate the food in terms of nutrition and just, make it a bit healthier for ourselves. Obviously, some dishes should just stay the same, but where we
Yeah.
can change, we're trying to adapt and to just increase the nutritional profile. Um, so that's my story on food. And I think in terms of travel, to be honest, I've always just wanted to explore different cultures, different foods, different ways of living. And this is the fourth country I'm living in now. So my journey has been very interesting. Like, I've moved around quite a bit. And I think I've learned a lot, obviously, from all those moves in terms of professional growth, personal growth, but also just my relationship with food and cooking. So I think it's all really just shaped me into who I am today.
Wow. 4 countries. That's doing
Yeah.
one country is a challenge in itself.
Honestly, totally unexpected, but I'm not surprised.
Right.
I was that very curious girl who definitely wanted to live in different places. So, yeah, I guess the universe found a way. Yeah.
When was the first move?
So my first move was actually when I wanted to do my master's program. So, so I think I studied all my life in South Africa. I invested a lot in education. I worked in the corporate environment for, I'd say, about 6-7 years. And then when it came time to invest in my master's, I knew I wanted to do something internationally, something that would give me more global exposure. And I came across this program, which is at the Asia School of Business in collaboration with MIT Sloan for my MBA.
Okay.
And it basically offered like great scholarships, travel opportunities as part of the program with a truly global cohort. And I was sold, So, that was me living in the heart of Kuala Lumpur for almost 2 years. I got to travel across the region as well throughout my studies and my program there. I got to spend a semester in the US at MIT Sloan as well as part of my program. And I think for a girl from the south of Johannesburg, this was like, wow, I don't think I'm getting any better than this. So,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad I took the opportunity on. And I think it just only opened up more doors for me going forward.
Mhm.
So that was the first experience. Malaysia, yeah. And then I obviously met my husband and we got married and I moved to London to be with him. So that was the second destination. And then now the third destination is the UAE. So we've recently just moved to Dubai this year. And we're living here now. So lots of global hotpots of cultures and food. And it's been really exciting.
Amazing. What's the difference you've seen between, say, the East, you've now West and now more centrally inland to the world? Have you seen a shift in how people are experiencing, food and culture?
Yeah, I think I've experienced a lot of it in the East. So obviously my time in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and then as I traveled like throughout the East, I came across like very different ingredients. For example, like very different protein sources that I was not used to from South Africa. A simple thing as like mushrooms, like different kinds of mushrooms are eaten in abundance in a place like Malaysia, and just, learning how to sort of include those in my diet was definitely a learning, but also like a form of awakening. Like there's so much food out there that if you don't have access to, you probably just don't know how to include it in your diet.
Yeah.
But I think also just being in KL, it's just it was such an incredible food scene. Like there was a rich blend of Chinese, Malay, South Indian influence in the food, which I'd never been exposed to before. So even just in terms of spices, the types of vegetables they use, the types of protein sources they used, was all so new to me. And I think I really enjoyed learning about all of that.
Yeah. I follow a couple of Eastern YouTubers, foodies and food channels. And I myself love Eastern, especially Asian influenced cuisine, especially like noodles and things like that. Lots of rich, spicy palate
Yeah.
dishes. Coming from South Africa, we grow up with our moms. Just
Yeah.
that heavy hand of chilies
Of
in our
chili.
food.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just need it.
But yeah, I think when you travel and your mind is exposed to those kind of uh, cultures, perspectives, you kind of like shift mindset. And like you said, you've always had a curious mind. So was that like easy for you uh, to accept that,
Mm.
okay, I'm here now and I'm not going to be just stuck in my ways of eating? Because I know a
Mm.
lot of people, even if they
Struggle.
travel across the
Yeah.
world, they still
Yeah.
struggle with trying to accept that, it's not the same as home.
Yeah. I think for me, like obviously it was a learning curve initially. Like I was more comfortable with foods that I was used to eating back home. But I think when you're put in that situation, you only have one way, and that's to adapt, right? To make do with what you have.
Right.
And I think I've always been someone who can adapt very easily, or I can find things that I might like, that might be better suited to my palate or what I'm used to. So very resourceful in that sense. So I always found my way, like even if we were traveling somewhere and, it wasn't a very vegetarian friendly sort of environment, there was always something like, I could just put together or find my way to try something different. But I think I've been very open-minded about that, and, I've wanted to try new things and different things. So that definitely helped me as well.
Yeah. One dish that really made you believe, okay, this is now, the avenue I want to take in life.
There's such a difficult question because there's so many dishes that I honestly just love. But I think something that really stuck with me was, so I spent a month in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, during one of my internships during my MBA. And obviously a lot of the food I couldn't eat because being a vegetarian. But I found this cute little vegan cafe close to where I was working. And I'd literally go there every single day for lunch. And I tried every single thing on their menu. So it was like very authentic Vietnamese food. And I think the dish that probably stuck with me was like a noodle soup. So pho, but like the vegetarian version of the pho. But they had these very creative, innovative, different noodle soup dishes that were purely vegan, vegetarian. And I think I just became obsessed with noodle soups ever since then.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
I
amazing.
would say.
Pho. Yeah, we don't get a lot
Yeah.
of it back in South Africa, so it's not something
Yeah,
you are
I do miss
exposed to,
it when
right?
I'm there. Yeah, exactly. It was completely new to me. Like I was just blown away. Like I think even just watching the way people ate, like, with a big spoon and chopsticks, and it's just a completely different world, right? And a way of living.
Yeah. And they eat from the land and, what's provided.
Yeah, very
And I think that's
fresh.
the
Yeah.
important part we have to take away from it. And I myself, I love ramen. In terms of, my wife would be like, okay, what are you going to eat today? And don't tell me ramen. Because I can like eat that most days. It's because I don't know, when you consume that, it just makes you feel warm and makes you feel good, makes you feel like you've had a meal. And
Yeah.
it's just something do you feel like that when you have
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think it's something I can eat every day, and it just feels
Okay.
so light on my stomach. It's so healthy, makes me feel good. It's just something I love. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I think we all have this specific type of cuisine. We'll go back to in a heartbeat, even if it's the last thing we eat. We'll still have that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You started a series on Instagram called, making food with a twist. Where did that idea come about?
Yeah, well, okay, so maybe I'll start with my page first. So I think She Cooks Veg was sort of born out of I think my recent or like my journey over the past 6 years with food and travel and life and just, living in different countries and being exposed to so much, I really just wanted to share my journey with people. And I think it took me a really long time to put myself out there because, obviously like you think, oh, what if it doesn't work? What am I really doing here? Kind of a thing. But then I just figured, why not? Like, what do I have to lose? I literally have nothing to lose. And, and I think as soon as I started posting, putting myself out there, I noticed that there were a lot of young, busy professionals in their 20s, 30s, just like me, who could really relate to the content I was sharing. And, they also wanted to eat or want to eat traditional food, but maybe they had not been exposed to cooking them from a young age, or they don't have someone to teach them, or, they don't know how to make these traditional foods in a healthier way. And I think that's really where my inspiration is. Like, I'm not trying to reinvent or recreate anything. I'm trying to keep the traditions alive. I want to pass these on to my kids one day and to keep our traditions alive. But obviously make them healthier as we go along, where we can, enforce some positive change, then why not, So that's kind of where and how the page started. And I think what's interesting about it is that it will obviously continue to evolve and grow with me as I grow along my journey with food, and who knows what's to come next in my life. So I think it will be an interesting space to keep watching out. But yeah, I'm very excited about the page in general. And
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of your recipes, and it takes me back to childhood. You're eating pateria and okra and all of the things our moms used to make.
Yeah.
We still make it. We still have them today.
Exactly. But I think there's also the stigma that only the mums and the grandmothers should be making them.
Oh no, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think for us, it's also important to just know that we also can make them, and we can make them suited to our nutritional needs. And it's still something we can eat, and we should carry it on, with the future generations to come. So I think that's where I kind of come in. Like, I'm trying to bridge that gap and just make these traditional recipes more accessible, more convenient, and easy for people today to learn how to make as well.
Yeah. Especially we have such a energetic lifestyle nowadays. It's easy to get lost in the fast food chain or get lost in
100%.
the consumerism of your unhealthiness.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing right now is truly inspirational, because, for people who leave their home comforts, they're still looking for something to cling on to that reminds them of home.
Exactly.
Because for us, thankfully in Canada, we have we still have accessibility to our Indian culture, because there's such a large community of brown people, and thankfully, just I think maybe 500 meters away from us, there's an Indian store who sells all the stuff that we use, the spices, condiments, sweets, savories, whatever that we grew up with, it's there, it's accessible for us. So we're truly grateful that we have that now. But for some people who actually don't have that opportunity and have moved abroad, it becomes very challenging, and they miss that. And then sometimes you feel that sense of loneliness, and food can bring you to that space 100%. Of calm again.
Yeah, and I think for me, that's exactly what it was like when I moved to Malaysia. I really missed home. I missed our flavors. I didn't really have a Gujarati community in KL, maybe just one friend. But yeah, I think I just wanted to keep it alive and just make sure that I don't lose touch with, where I'm from and like what was important to me.
Yeah. Well, Malaysia itself is also a rich culture of, I say, certain flavors of what we grew up with, being with the Muslim community as well. I think we resonate, for myself and my wife personally, we resonate more with the Arab style cooking, because we eat meat and chicken and stuff. So like the biryanis and the akhnis and all of that stuff.
Yes.
Even the simple thing like samosas, we enjoy the triangle type, the smaller type, where over here they enjoy the pakoras, the bigger type.
Yes.
So it's, people think it's the same. No, it's not the same.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the same. And that's what's so interesting about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. one dish that you think, really people resonate with and will keep coming back to all over and over and over, especially from a foodie perspective.
Yeah. Oh, that I've shared through my page.
Yeah.
I think one that really surprised me was the patra pateria that I made with Swiss chard spinach. So that was totally unexpected. Like, I think for me, like, that dish was just it was something I loved. I love gardening, and I spent a lot of time gardening back home during COVID. So Swiss chard was something that we had in abundance, and I think my mom and I would just make patra with them because we didn't know what else to do with the spinach, and it was actually just so amazing. And when I posted that video, I was so surprised at how well received it was. I think so many people were like, wow, I'd love to try this. Like, we get the spinach here and I'd miss patra. Like, people who obviously have moved overseas or don't have like the normal patra that we use available. So I think that dish was probably one of my most interesting, I think, to date. People seem to love it.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm looking at it right now. It's got, almost 1,000 likes and a couple of comments, and it's done really well. And I clicked on it as well because, it takes you back to that flavor, that taste. And it's a quick snack as well, but it's also so much healthy for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's something that's easily accessible. Like, you can find that spinach in like a local supermarket near you. Whereas you might not be able to find like the normal colocasia patra leaves that we use. So, yeah.
And, now living in the UAE, how's the food scene compared to, other countries that you've lived in?
Very Indian. So I think there's just lots of food. Like, it's very overwhelming. Food is really good here, and food is available in abundance. And I think it's a lot easier to just go and eat out. So a lot of like chaat, like Mumbai style street food, a lot of North Indian food, Asian food. It's just honestly just a lot of food. But I think I'm still finding my way. I'm still trying to learn about the ingredients and see like what interests me and what doesn't. I wouldn't say I'm the most excited by the food here yet, like based on everywhere else I've been or compared to home. But I think I'm still learning and finding my way. And I do want to get more into like the local foods and start seeing, how to incorporate those into our diets. Like, for example, here, people eat a lot of labneh, which is very high in protein. It's basically like almost like a sour cream or a very high protein yogurt. So just, finding ways of how that could be incorporated into like a Gujarati diet or just our normal, more normal diet would be interesting.
Yeah. Are you curious when it comes to food in terms of trying something new?
Yeah, I am. I think I am, but I think I do have a very, I would say, selective palate. So I do tend to gravitate towards like the flavors I grew up eating. That's what I've noticed. And my husband always says that. I think he has more of an adventurous palate. So that forces us to go out a lot more and try new things. And, that challenges my palate a bit. But I think some things grow on me and some things just don't. And I'm okay with that. I don't think I have to like everything, just because I have this food page and I'm doing recipes. But I don't mind cooking with them, if it makes sense, if other people like it. Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. Because you kind of also have to evolve and expand and grow as a chef or as a person who's trying to, provide that service.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
In terms of, the bridging the gap between eating healthy and not compromising flavor, because it can easily get lost. Is it something are you mindful of when you're making your dishes?
Yeah. So this one, I think I've always really struggled with because like personally, I really love the tasty fried food that we grew up eating, but obviously I also know that it's not good for me or not sustainable, like long term to eat often kind of a thing. So I think over the years, it has been a bit of a constant battle to make changes in my diet, my lifestyle, to just start eating healthier and better. But I do feel some balance is good, and like having that one thing you really enjoy or enjoyed growing up every now and again, is fine. And like, can't cause you
Yeah,
like, yeah, any harm.
everything in moderation.
Yeah, everything in moderation, I think, is fine. But with
Yeah,
that being said, I think I've just become more mindful of what I eat and how I eat. And I think I like to stick to like a good routine Monday to Friday, make sure I eat really well, and then maybe just indulge in a thing or two over the weekend that I really enjoy. And that's kind of how I find my balance.
I look back at my own journey with food and how it was consumed, because being an active person very young, I was burning calories at the rate of knots because I was active 24/7. So I wasn't mindful of the fact that what I was consuming, because I knew it was something that would
Mm.
be, and my metabolism was pretty high at that rate. But as I grew older and stopped competitive sports, and you're not at that level anymore, you feel your body starting to change, and I had to be really mindful of what I started to consume. And yes, like you said, I'm not that person that's like really strict in terms of I can only eat certain things on a certain day. Yeah, sometimes the craving kicks in, but mindfully now I'm okay. There is a substitute for that, and you can still alleviate that craving with something a little bit more balanced. And recently, I reached out to a nutritionist, and she has made me aware of, okay, you don't have to always, you just have to cold turkey on how you consume, on what you consume, everything in moderation.
Hmm.
And I've started to now look at labels, the back of the packaging,
Exactly. Yeah.
to understand that not everything is organic. Not everything is going to be as it says. So you have to also be mindful of that and be kind to yourself when also trying to enjoy something that you grow up with. Coming from South Africa, we love Ecoayas, we love our
Exactly.
chop rolls, and there are those comfort foods. And a lot of people in the West are like, "You put carbs on carbs?" Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. It's something,
It's funny you
but
mention
those,
that because I actually love Eccles so much as well. But obviously you just can't keep eating it all the time. So I like made
no.
my own version of it that had similar flavors, but like it didn't have the bread and it was just a healthier dish.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just thought of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe you could share it with me, or could have a
yeah.
try at the
I'd
recipe.
love to do that. Yeah. But I think also
Amazing.
the same with us. Like, we've also just made small changes in our lifestyle and our diet. Like we also read the labels now. We
Mm.
try not to eat like very processed foods or like refined carbs. We've cut down on, we look for the high protein sources. Just small things that, we can do. That's what we're doing. I try to make a lot of what we eat from scratch at home. Even my
Yeah.
ghee, for example, like for me, that's a non-negotiable. I make ghee at home. And
Okay.
we just small things that I can do from my side, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And say, for people who don't have the luxury of making their own ghee, especially now in the UAE, if they're listening to this, do you know where they could find like a good source of ghee, or is it something that, it's not readily available?
I think this ghee, normally what I do is I would buy like a high quality, maybe organic ghee, and I
Okay.
would smell it. Like if it has it's just like a lot of the ghees that you buy off the shelf just don't have a nice smell. And I think you can
Mm.
tell that it's probably not the best quality ghee. So I would give it a smell and it
Okay.
should have a good smell. Like it shouldn't be something that makes you want to puke kind of a thing.
Okay. Okay. That's a good note.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important for, to share these kind of tricks, because also sometimes we don't know if we're not coached, or have the
Yeah.
learnings to understand what is a good source of the ingredient that we're trying to consume. I'm growing up. My auntie in Benoni had a spice shop, so every time you would walk in, it had that certain smell. But when you open the tubs, like each spice had a different smell and different element to it, and you knew if it was fresh or not, because when you opened it, you knew, okay, this is a fresh source of maybe masala or something like that. And I think it's important, like you said, to share that, okay, maybe a smell, something like simple thing like that would just put you off, and try something else.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of if you go back home, what's one dish that it's a non-negotiable? That's the first thing you got to have. I always ask this question to people that go back home.
Oh, definitely like eccles or a chip roll or like a toasted chip sandwich or something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one thing for me when I land in South Africa. Okay, chicken licken is something that we don't get here. So, the wings and the sliders, okay, that's my
That's what
that's
you
my
go
go-to.
for.
Yeah. So, but no, I think food is such an important part of our wellness practice in this day and age, because we're always punting for wellness, balance, mindfulness, and it's such an important cog in our well-being, and what you're providing is such an important part of that space. Growing up, certain challenges we face, anything that in terms of your own upbringing, you faced, and now you look back and say, okay, thankfully, I've gotten through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like it's always been health and weight related. I've always struggled with my weight. So I was very overweight growing up, like right throughout till high school. At my heaviest, I just really struggled with my weight. And I think a lot of it was also just hormonal. And, I had a thyroid, I had an underactive thyroid. I also was like pre-diabetic at one point because of my weight. And, I was told that I had to make severe lifestyle changes, to not end up being diabetic one day. And yeah, I think I just went on this journey of weight loss and eating healthy and just changing my life over the next few years. And I lost over, I would say, like over 20 kilos, almost 25 kilos, which I then obviously now have managed to maintain and manage in the last 10 years. Just with changes, because my body's still the same and I'm pretty sure it could go back to where it was. So it is something that I'm constantly having to work on. And I think that is hard mentally, like a lot of the time, because you feel like you can't just eat what you want, or you have to always watch what you eat. But your body is what it is, and I think you just have to take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Were there days when you felt like giving up?
Oh, 100%, yes. And I think, like, obviously at that young age, being on like diet to diet or eating plan to eating plan, nutritionist to nutritionist, like it did occupy a lot of my headspace, I think. And, I always wondered, like, why me? Like, why do I have to keep doing this or be on this journey? It was definitely difficult. I wouldn't say it was something that was easy to get through. But I think once I saw the results and once I saw the positive change that was coming out of like what I was doing, it definitely motivated me to not go back. And, I wanted to obviously maintain my weight, and I did whatever I had to do to make sure I don't go back to the weight I was.
Yeah. Did you have the support that you needed, or you felt that you needed?
Yeah, definitely. I think my family were always very supportive of it. I think having said that, like growing up, I never ever felt my parents, my brother, like nobody ever made me feel any shame about my body or the way I looked. So I think that was really nice. In that sense, like I didn't have a very low self-esteem about how I looked, or I wasn't always made aware of it. But I definitely had the support once I started the journey. My mom was very supportive in terms of helping me prepare the meals that I needed to eat. And, everybody played a part in that journey because it was like over a few years. It took me to lose and to maintain. So it was a constant sort of, I would say, 7 years of the journey that I was on. To get my body to like, a place where I was healthy, really healthy, and I felt good about myself.
All right. Was it that moment when did you realize that for yourself, or was it something that happened to you that you had to take action? Was it something that you felt, okay, it's time for me to make a change?
Yeah, I think it was just I think it was me just realizing that, you know what, I think when I got the scare of like pre-diabetic and, I
Mm.
knew I had the thyroid issue, and obviously the doctors told me that, with you making lifestyle changes, losing the weight, you know, you could you could be in better shape and you could be healthy. And I think that for me was the turning point. I was like, wait, I'm only 20 years old. I don't want to be diabetic. I don't want to have all these health issues. I still have my whole life ahead of me, kind of a thing. And yeah, I just wanted to be better for myself. So I
Okay.
think that's when, yeah.
Right. And let's just say somebody's listening to this right now and experiencing what you have gone through. Uh, any piece of advice you'd give to them just to start looking inwards and to try to take action for themselves, or is it something that is difficult to share?
I think it's just so personal, because I think weight makes people feel so differently. Like,
Mhm.
but I think the biggest change like anyone can probably make is just being more aware of their health and being more aware of the information that's out there, and how you can improve your health. Obviously, I think the first step is realizing that you want to improve. I don't think anyone can do that for you but yourself. And
Yeah,
once you
100%.
decide that, I think you have all the resources out there to help you get to where you want to be. So I think it's just taking that first step that is probably the hardest step, like admitting to yourself that, okay, you know what, I need to change and I want to be better for myself for the future. And then I think, the world is your oyster. Like we've advanced so much in terms of health and wellness and nutrition, and, it's all possible.
Yeah. Something that I like to share is when I was looking for resources and especially trying to figure out what's going on with me in terms of anxiety, depression, what am I experiencing? When I was in the hospital, we were told, don't go to general Google for your information. There's something called Google Scholar, where you've got published articles from professors, uh, professionals that are in the space that have the knowledge to give you good information.
Hmm.
So if anybody's listening and you want to research something, just type into Google Scholar. It'll redirect you to that page, and you'll get really good and relevant information, and you won't get all the noise that comes from
Noise,
Google
yeah.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thanks for sharing that.
It made my mind shift changed because I wasn't consumed by just the generic, oh, these are your symptoms and this is what's happening. But in terms of why and how, what is happening to your body, what goes through what happens to your brain, certain parts of your brain get activated, and it's all consolidated into a nice, well structured article. And it's something that if you want to, look at something that's really relevant, check out Google Scholar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great shout. And I think also sometimes we think it's a lot bigger than it actually is. Like,
Mm.
these small changes can actually go a long way. And obviously, it might seem daunting to someone at first, but once you get started, I think everything just happens so naturally. And all it takes is just some commitment from you, some time commitment and some effort, and just, having the courage to make the change.
Yeah.
But I think now, like being how over 15 years into the journey, I think I've just built a simple routine that works for me. Simple habits. I have non-negotiables, daily non-negotiables that I make sure I stick to in order to keep me on track, to my health goals. And for example, just a simple protein shake that I start my morning, a smoothie that I start my morning off with, that's like a non-negotiable for me no matter what. Even if I'm traveling, I have a bag of my protein powder with me, and, I make sure that I have it. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, good on you for that. It's important to keep those practices alive, and it becomes a part of you, right? Do you feel that? That was my next question to you. Your day to day. What are your non-negotiables? What's your daily routine look like? And thank you for sharing that. Do you feel something's missing when you don't do those things?
I think the only thing missing is that I just don't feel good. Like I think I'm someone I'm a creature of structure. Like I love having structure to my day. I love having a routine and I love sticking to it. So I think I just don't feel good when I don't do those things. Like for me, I make sure I do like 10 to 12,000 steps daily. Obviously, when I was living in London, I had like 15,000 a day. So I got really used to walking every day and walking a lot. So just moving my body makes me feel better. Just making sure I have my protein shake, just having a very simple routine. I have like a Greek yogurt every day. I just try to do small things and then fine, I'll eat whatever I want to eat now in control, obviously. But yeah, I find that that's worked for me over the years.
Yeah. I started sharing something on Instagram, a story. How did you start your day? Or how did you start your morning? And, just put a couple of options there: coffee, tea, movement, gym, or hustle out the door. And a lot of people choose hustle out the door. Some people choose hustle out the door. And I appreciate the feedback, because I think it's also about just planting that seed about how would you want to start your day. And even if you don't have the opportunity to be like super mindful or super like healthy, you can start your day off with a little, even just a gratitude. Like how we used to do pray in the morning before we leave the house. Something similar, like something simple like that.
Yeah, I think that's also non-negotiable for me. So lighting a Devo at home, that's the first thing I do in the morning. My mom did that all my life, so that's something I've carried on doing. Yeah. Yeah, I think with me, like I've noticed ever since I've moved away from home and my community and, the mandir that I grew up going to, if anything, I think it's brought me closer to wanting to keep doing those things. And also now that we moved to the UAE with my husband, like I've also noticed that it's also like becoming even more important to us to make sure we still have that community here, or we build a community here that still keeps us close to, our roots and our spirituality
Right.
and just who we are.
Yeah. I think spirituality is a personal journey. It's what you deem as spiritual, and everyone's is different. And we acknowledge that, and we can't really force people to actually go down a route of how we practice things and how we practice culture.
Definitely.
And those kind of practices. And it's a personal journey. I always said I'll never tell somebody how to pray.
Exactly.
We all pray in
It's
our own way.
personal. Yeah, and whatever makes you feel good, when it makes you feel good as well,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Nah, it's I'd love to always just get perception and for feedback from people, because we get so lost in our digital age right now. We get so consumed by social media.
Yes.
Conversations like this get lost. We don't really know the next person that we're sitting next to or having a conversation with. If you look at coffee shops, this other day I walked into a coffee shop and not one person had their head up talking to somebody. Everybody was down, plugged in.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me realize, okay, we need to start having some of these conversations and just talking, even if it's general stuff.
Yeah,
and something
but also,
that has been introduced now in Toronto is meetups, just social meetups, coffee meetups. So just strangers meet up. Yeah. So you just meet up with strangers and just have a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I think we're also losing that sense of like deeply connecting with people and just, the environment we're in and the surroundings we're in. And I think for me, food does that, and it's always done that. And I think that's why it's important. Like me sharing my food content is a way for me to connect with people through food. It might be through your device, but I'm still connecting with you through food, and I'm telling a story with my food. And so, yeah.
I mean, your page is really vibrant, and I think whoever is interested in checking out Shivangi's page, I'll leave a link in the description below. Please support our journey. I'm sure there's some recipes in there that you'll resonate with.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited, and yeah, I think it might take some time, but I'm also open to that journey. Like obviously life happens as well, and but it is something I'm very passionate about, and it is something that I'm going to keep at and
Hmm.
I'm going to focus on growing it as I go through my journey. So yeah.
Yeah. And you've made an impact already, whether it be a small one or a big one, and people are resonating with you. How does that make you feel?
Um, it makes me feel happy, honestly. Yeah, I think obviously I was very scared initially of putting myself out there, but then once I saw that, people actually care about this as well, it made me feel happy and it just makes me feel a sense of belonging as well. And it makes me feel like it's okay for me to share
Hmm.
and put myself out there. And I'm really grateful for that. Like also just having people there to support the journey has been amazing. And I think that will motivate me to keep going. And I think the aim is to obviously keep growing the page organically. So obviously having people there who are really interested, who are on similar journeys or will be on similar journeys as I am. And for us to just share, with each other kind of a thing. So I'm not aiming for something crazy, out there in terms of growth, but I'm looking for more organic, natural connections with people who have a similar passion and love for food and, wanting to learn new things about food and nutrition and just, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think, once you leave things to the universe, it provides back to you because you're doing something wholesome and you're doing something from the heart, and that's that's a lot more. That feels deeper to somebody. When I started this journey of podcasting, I didn't know where it was going to go. I just started it because I felt it was something that was a calling for me. And organically now it starts to grow, and then you navigate those challenges when they come across. But it's not something that I felt, okay, I want to reach 1 million people on the offset. It's just
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
connecting people, starting to
Yes.
understand their journeys,
Yes.
how they
Yes.
feeling in this point in time.
Hmm.
And like you sum it up to yourself, you're doing the same with your page and your journey with food is you're sharing what you love organically, you're sharing passionately. And that's more than what you do if you're looking for just monetary gain or fame or anything superficial, because you're doing it from the heart. And that's what I
Yeah,
feel like when I look
definitely.
at your page.
Thank you. No, that's definitely what I'm trying to do. So, yeah, excited.
Before we wrap up, what does a day to day for Shivangi look like?
Uh, Very interesting. So, yeah, so I think most of my food content was traditionally done on weekends. So, obviously, working in the week, and then I'd spend
Hmm.
like a very early morning, Saturday, Sunday, shooting some content, and then posting every Monday, every Thursday with that kind of a routine.
Amazing. Yeah, it's something when you start a journey with passion, you see it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, obviously, the normal stuff as well. Like, I walk a lot, I exercise a lot. I'm very passionate about that as well. Just keeping myself in a good mental space and, feeling good about myself. And also taking care of my family. And yeah,
Right. What does the future hold for Shivangi, and any projects or any travels that you're looking forward to coming up?
I think as I go through the next phase in life, I'm excited to share the journey on my page and, see how food will change as well with that and what I can do with food. Yeah, so I think just for anyone who's like me or in my position or will be in my position at some point, I think this will be a good page just for them to also learn and to get ideas and share ideas and hopefully build a community in that sense as well going forward.
Right. And if you could leave, listeners with one thing today about wellness, lifestyle, food, what's the one message you could leave them?
I think just start somewhere, like if there's something you want to do or change or improve, or even just appreciate that you've been doing well, just take those matters in your own hand and give yourself that pat on the back when you deserve it. I think we all have to start somewhere, and yeah, I think just invest in that, take it in your own hands, and and I think you'll reap the rewards.
No, I love that. Thank you guys. Thank you, Shivangi, for sharing your journey with us today about your passions about food, travel, lifestyle, wellness. Keep going, and I look forward to keeping up with your journey. Of
I really appreciate it. Thank you, and thank you for having me as well. And it's also likewise amazing to learn from your journey. And please share your recipes too if there's anything you'd
Sure.
like to be recreated, or happy for that as well.
But no, thank you, Shivangi. I appreciate your time. And, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. I hope this episode resonated with you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like and subscribe. It'll just help the podcast grow, and also go and support Shivangi's journey on her page. I will leave the links in the description below. Thank you so much, Shivangi. I really appreciate your time. And thank you so much, guys. Stay zen. Until the next one. Thank you.
Thanks.